Nevertheless, commentaries. I think you need to watch this video till the end because what I'm about to talk about here is very important and it's very, very crucial if you are a football lover or you're a sport lover in general, because this not only pertains into football, but it cross board from football, from sport in general, even to life, because we are human beings and we are binded by contracts per se, if I may put it that way, at wherever we work. So the question is, focusing on football now, where do you draw a fine line between a player who is a person and a player who is your property? Because contractually, players, if they are good players, the greater they are, the hotter they are in the market also, and they have become the hot property for your company. That means if you have hot players, you also have hot properties that other companies, which are other football club, wants. But as a chairman or as a owner of a football club, when do you draw the line between a property? We're talking about someone who's contractually signed, obliged to perform certain duties to your team or establishment, and a person who is a human being who also needs to grow, develop, and better their lives. When do you draw the line between these two, a property and a human being? Why I'm asking this question? Because in a number of years since I've been watching football, I've noticed certain patterns in football clubs where a player has an opportunity to grow as a player, to grow as a brand, because being a footballer is not being a footballer. You are also a business yourself, because you are selling your services to these establishments, in this case, which are football clubs. If you are Team A, you are contractually signed to Team A, and you performed well in such a way that Team B wants your services, and they offer you something good for yourself as a person, you see that financially you're going to be okay, and also the facilities and the environment at which you are going to are way better than Team A. And you see that your services will be appreciated better in Team B. But if you speak to the chairman of the Team A, chairman on the Team A says they cannot release you unless Team B pay this amount of money. Not that at that time you actually worth that kind of money, but actually it's just them saying, no, you are not going nowhere, because we still need you here, we need your services here, and we believe that with you in our team, which is Team A, we can still achieve 1, 2, 3, and 4, but having them keep you to Team A denies you the opportunity to grow as a brand, to grow as a human being, to develop as a player. When do chairmen actually draw the fine line to look after a human being, to ensure the development, to ensure the growth, to ensure the betterment of a human being who offers services into their establishment, which is Team A in this instance? When do they draw the fine line to actually be able to separate these two? When do they allow these players to move, to develop, to grow beyond their football club? I want to mention teams here because we know certain teams which have the same patterns over and over and over again, and whenever the player is a hot property and is wanted and they have opportunity to develop themselves, to grow as a person, and financially to be stable, to actually secure their future, so that when they retire in football, their family is set and they will be able to take care of their families. But they are denied those opportunities. Not only denied the opportunities to go abroad and further their careers, but also denied the opportunity to play in Team A. And not only deny them those two opportunities, which is going abroad to further their career and grow as a person, and not only that, and denying them a chance to play now in Team A, but also using media to scrutinize these players, so that whenever they are done with them, they are nothing in the market and nobody wants to touch them. Now, if we see these things as human beings, happens, because they do happen, and we see them over and over and over and over again. These guys come hungry, get this contract, and then they are bound for life with these contracts. Whenever they want to leave, somebody decides to destroy them, to destroy their careers, so that after they're done with them, nobody wants to touch them and they are nothing. When do we have the mentality as club chairmen to want to see the betterment of the players that comes into our team and watch them grow and develop as a player and become better person as the players, not only for our teams but for themselves also, and their families and their futures, and for the entire country, the country as a whole. Now, if I have a team that is playing on Betway Premiership and I have my stock, which are my players, and they are hot property and they wanted abroad, if I release these players to go abroad, that would require me to rebuild my team again with new crop or set of players, which sometimes can be very, very daunting and can take a number of years to recreate the same team and this challenge for titles. But on the other hand, if I deny these guys this opportunity just because I don't want to rebuild over and over again, that means I'm not growing also as a football club. I'm not growing as a football club. That means here in my club there are people who do not do their job because there's always the next talent out there. Now, it doesn't help to deny a player the opportunity to go abroad when there are a pool of players in the streets who also are hungry for the same opportunities. If you have a hot player and is wanted abroad, let him go abroad and develop himself, go search for a new talent and replace him. Do not deny them the opportunity to go abroad and develop as a players and destroy them instead. Once they are done, then you find replacement for them. That's not how it works. That's inhuman. That's inhuman. So I wanted to ask this question: when do chairmen draw a fine line between dealing with a human being in a player and dealing with their stock in a player? Because at the end of the day, the football club is a business, and players are your commodities. They are what make this club worthy. They are your stock. Now, when do you deal with your players as human beings and when to deal with your players business-wise? Not destroying them in the process. I think we need people who actually are good at that and actually help develop other chairmen to actually see things on a different perspectives, because we've seen a lot of players being destroyed in the name of you are nothing without us, but we can all continue functioning without you. There are so many players we've seen in Betway Premiership going under the same scrutiny, and it's a pattern. We know that these teams have this tendency into the players, and no one is saying nothing about it. Everybody's quiet. I know you know what I'm talking about, but I will not mention anybody because I don't want to be hunted. But I'm a concerned citizen who cares for these players because they give us enjoyment, they give us joy, they give us football, they give us entertainment. But we also want to see them develop, want to see them grow, want to see them wealthy, want to see them their life getting betterment so that they can take care of their families. And when this time for retirement comes, they are well off and they can take care of themselves and their family. I think we also need to think about that too while we have this set of players or group of players playing for our teams as chairmen. I'm including myself in that because I'm hoping maybe in future I will have a football club. That's my dream, but it might not happen. But I want to speak as a chairman so that if one of these chairmen get to see this video, then he will easily fit into my shoes because this video is inclusive. We need to see these players as human beings, not as commodities in our companies. We need to prioritize their betterment, their development, their growth, both psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, physically, financially. It is time that we do not go back to the same cycle where we see players at their retirement age, they are broke and they have no money. But they had opportunities to better themselves financially, to better themselves in terms of development of their skill, to better themselves in terms of growth psychologically, not only psychologically but family-wise. There has to be a fine line when dealing with players between them as human beings and them as commodities within the club. Let me close it here. If you like this video, please share it. If you think it's meaningful, share it, like, but on top of it all, please do subscribe. I will see you on the next one.